Hello everybody and welcome to my class presentation. The film I'm going to talk about is a movie many of you may or may not heard of, a film called Network. The film tells the story of how a television network learns that it may be challenging to manage the insane news anchor's message as it cynically takes advantage of his rants about the news industry for its financial gain. The film is 2 hours and 1 minute in length. The director, Sidney Lumet, was born in Philadelphia and raised in Manhattan. He studied theater acting at Columbia University and the Professional Children's School of New York. He started radio acting at 4 and theatrical acting at 5. He started his career as a radar repairman post-World War II. He started as a TV director, directing plays for Playhouse 90 and Kraft Television Theater. He made his feature directorial debut with 12 Angry Men in 1957. The screenwriter, Paddy Chayefsky, was born in the Bronx and the son of Jewish immigrants. He is the only person to have written both original and adapted screenplays and won 3 Academy Awards. His television drama The Hospital, about 2 lonely individuals discovering love, served as the inspiration for the film Marty. Both The Hospital and Network were satires of the television industry. Cinema historians called them years ahead of its time, and few films capture the disaster of America's self-destructive idealism so well. Chayefsky was among the first group of people inducted into the TV Hall of Fame by the Academy of TV Arts and Sciences. This was given to him in 1984, 3 years after his passing. Network debuted only 2 years after the suicide of TV reporter Christine Chubbuck in Sarasota, Florida, the first on-screen suicide in TV history. On July 15, 1974, the anchorwoman was depressed, lonely, and frequently emotionally cut off from her co-workers, so she filmed herself pulling the trigger to her forehead as the world stared in shock. The concept of an on-screen TV death served as the main theme for the film's climax. Sidney Lumet said the character of Howard Beale was never based on any real-life person. Network executive Lynn Bolan, who oversaw NBC's daytime TV programming, served as the model for Diana Christensen's role, a claim Bolan refuted. Originally planning to write a comedy, Chayefsky instead channeled his annoyance at the television show's content, which he referred to as an indestructible and terrifying giant that is stronger than the government, into the script. It evolved into a dark satire about an unstable news anchor and a broadcasting company and a viewing public all too happy to follow him over the brink of sanity. Howard Beale was played by Peter Finch, Diana Christensen was played by Faye Dunaway, Max Schumacher was played by William Holden, Frank Hackett was played by Robert Duvall, and Jensen Ackles was played by Ned Beatty. After 2 weeks of rehearsals, filming was underway in Toronto. During filming, Lumet recalls that Chayefsky was typically present on set and occasionally provided guidance on how specific scenes should be played. Though Lumet conceded that his longtime friend possessed super funny sensibilities, the 4-time married director had the upper hand in the domestic altercation between Holden and Strait. "Patty, please, I know more about divorce than you." The rigors of playing Beale eventually wore Finch down, both physically and mentally. Finch had long struggled with cardiac issues. Cinematographer Owen Roisman wanted a more intricate lighting design, saying that he would corrupt the camera, according to Lumet. They started with an almost naturalistic look, and the camera angles throughout the film became increasingly stiff and inflexible. The illumination started to look more fake. The sequence right before the end, where the network conspires to murder Peter Finch, is staged like a commercial, almost like the television has also made the camera a victim. I chose this because I think it is one of the best screenplays ever written in the history of cinema. I call it an independent film because it was funded on a budget of $3.8 million and not made by any of the 5 big studios. That worked to its benefit because it allowed the foundation for a great story with phenomenal thematic depth. I believe it is a brilliant satire on how the power of network television can manipulate the general population. The ending where Baile is assassinated due to poor ratings works because it is a simple allegory. An allegory reveals a hidden deeper meaning and stands in for something else in the real world. Baile is assassinated by a group of radical communists who Diana has given their own TV show. So by having the network hire them to do the killing, it shows how corporations can co-opt any ideology to serve their own profit-driven motives. The central theme of Network is individual versus society over the value of human life. Every scene, dialogue, plot development, and character arc supports that central theme at the core of the screenplay. Howard is distressed that the network would fire him over lousy ratings and at first contemplates suicide, but the company decides to use his on-air ramblings to gain further higher ratings. Howard's famous "I'm as mad as hell" speech resonates with me because he is calling out the news for popularizing war, murder, and poverty, and none of the people watching at home take him seriously, nor do the news network because they only care about money. Network deals with sub-themes such as capitalism, corruption, and freedom of speech. Arthur Jensen tells Howard there is no America or democracy. There are only the many corporations. This film is about the inability of people to keep faith in themselves, where they want to listen to networks feed them what they want to hear, so the truth becomes distorted. Overall, the legacy of Network continues to say that it is one of the greatest screenplays of all time, according to many scholars and critics. Network is an independent film classic because it reveals why it matters to tell the truth. Nevertheless, doing so comes at a high cost. This is seen when Baile is killed live on television due to his remarks. I can't sit here and start telling people to speak out of protest, but this movie demonstrates that we are capable of changing things. Even if reaching the objective may seem impossible, we must consider whether it is preferable to live in a free country where we may use our rights or submit to the pressures of society and let life pass us by. Thank you for this week's presentation, and good night.